Hey guys, well today I got another Beth Avenue story for you. Now, back in the day when I started robbing banks, we were robbing banks every weekend. Every Sunday night, if it was a 3-day weekend, on Monday night, we would go out and do a night deposit box. I was rolling in the money like it was unbelievable. The money just kept on coming in. I would hide money at my mother's house. I would hide money in my apartment, on top of my ceiling. I would hide money everywhere. This day, it was me, Gerard, William Galloway, and some guy, George. This guy, George, was originally from Bay Ridge. I robbed a couple banks with him. When I started robbing banks with him, we were going every other weekend to go rob a bank. And we made tons of money. I was making so much money, I was just throwing it away. I remember on the West Side Highway, we would throw like thousands of dollars just out the window, and people would stop and just pick up the money. But when we went out, we had scanners, we had saws, battery operated saws. We made sure they were fully charged. We had drills, and we had some hooks that we would put underneath the chassis of the car and pull out the night deposit box once we undrilled the screws and cut the rest of the material with the saws off. And we started finding solutions of these night deposit boxes, of making them easier and easier. And it was real simple. The night deposit box would be off within 2 seconds. And it just pops off, bang, we go fishing, and we just grab the money, and all there's left is just metal. That's it. So we drive to Long Island. We went to all over New York State when we did these banks, all over the place. The neighborhood banks was all burnt out. We did them all already. We had to go to Staten Island. Then from Staten Island, we would go upstate New York. We would go to Connecticut. We would go all over the fucking place. Forget about it, the things we did. So we end up doing this night deposit box. In this night deposit box, there's $450,000 cash. We split it 4 ways, $110,000 a piece, something like that. Gerard got a little more because Gerard was the master thief. After we rob this score, we go to the Limelight. We went to the Limelight, and there's a big crowd. We walk in, money's nothing. I got a pocket full of money. I got over 100,000 on me, and a couple kids are in the Limelight. You got the club kids, you got the breakdancing kids. My brother had his own little crew over there back then. And I go to the top tier. Don't know if you ever went in the Limelight, go to the top tier. I get $1,000 in singles. I had $1,000 in singles, and I just toss it off of the tier. Oof. And everyone's like, whoa. Everyone's on ecstasy. Who's on cocaine? And people are just like, wow, money. And everyone's picking up the money. And me, Gerard, and Willie, we're just having a fucking great time. But back in those days, I made so much money. It was unbelievable. If I was going broke, I just go do another score. But this is the part where I thought it would never end. And eventually it ends. And that's where you have to think. But today, there ain't no more scores like that. You can't do night deposits no more because there's no money in those night deposits. Everything is credit cards. So you put everything on your credit card. There ain't no cash transactions no more like there were back in the day. I also remember when we were robbing these drug dealers, and we were collecting $10,000 a week off these drug dealers. The drug dealers would come to Bay 23rd, and they would pay us every Friday. Then me and Paulie G would go to Central Sports on McDonald Avenue and buy Feli suits and sneakers. I remember meeting Joe Benanti, and I would give him a newspaper. In the newspaper would be $5,000. And he would kick that up to Anthony Sparrow, whatever Anthony Sparrow took. or whoever, whatever his captain took. And Joe Benanti would just take the newspaper. He would look at it. He would pop a Xanax, Joe Benanti, and smoke a little weed and walk up and down Bath Avenue. He would stop for a slice of pizza, have a cup of coffee. But Joe Benanti was a wise guy from the 1960s. His nickname was Bullethead. He was a stone cold gangster, 100%. I gotta give him that credit. Stone cold gangster. He took his 50 years and he did his time. Now, in the future on my channel, I'm going to be doing a lot of interviews. I'm going to be interviewing a lot of interesting characters, and I'm going to be creating more stories for you guys. Now, this story I just got out of my journals. I am also selling my journals. So if anyone is interested in my journals, my prison journals, let me know, reach out to me. I'm going to be putting them on my website. If you want to purchase them, you can contact me through my website. Now, the other thing is, with all these other clowns out there that are mafia experts and they know everything about my life and everyone else's life, they're a joke. I wanted to put that in there. They don't have a life, so they got to talk about me and other people. They can't talk about themselves, and they hide this, and they hide their face. So they're all a bunch of cowards. But another thing is I wanted to say was, back in the day when I went away, Fabrizio became the guy. Joey Calco, Tommy Reynolds killed Paulie G. Fabrizio was going to be the one getting straightened out. Calco was never going to get straightened out. They didn't like Calco. Eventually, they had an idea for Calco. Calco was going to get clipped 100%. When Tommy Reynolds had his daughter, Fabrizio stepped in to be godfather. So right there you can see that Fabrizio and Tommy Reynolds was getting close with each other. And Joey Calco knew that, and he was watching. So Joey Calco pulls the trigger on Paulie G in 1993 of July. Joey Calco never gets straightened out for that. Usually, if you kill somebody for Sparrow, Joe Benanti, you'll get put up and get straightened out. But they didn't want to see Joey Calco get straightened out. They had another idea for him. He was eventually going to get clipped. So Joey Calco goes on the lam after he kills the kid in 96, 97. When he goes on the lam, with Tommy Reynolds. They go to Florida. They go to maybe 10,000 apiece. And this is when they started smoking crack. Now, I was in jail at this time with all this crack shit. Now, I got this story from William Galloway. Now, William Galloway would take a flight down to Florida with an ounce of crack and $20,000 cash. Fabrizio would hand it to him and tell Willie, listen, Willie, you got to get on a plane. Here's an ounce of crack and 20,000 in cash. You got to go meet Joey Calco and Tommy Reynolds, okay? They're out in Florida. They're smoking crack. They're all cracked out. And this is the vision of what was going on at the time. Now, also when I was away, they would go see my ex-girlfriend, Lori. They would ring Lori's bell once a month, and they would give Lori $2,000 for me once a month. Now, that was a part of my money, that drug money, because I shook down those drug deals with Fabrizio and Tommy Reynolds. And it was always a hard time getting money out of them. I would talk to Fabrizio from prison, and I would call him Green Eyes. Hey, Green Eyes, you're going to pass by my girl's house and drop off that money? But once they killed Paulie, our friendship was done. My idea was to get away from them, in which I did. I got on record with Manny Madonna. We went to go see Sparrow. Sparrow released me, and I accomplished that. Then when I see Tommy Reynolds in MDC, Brooklyn, me and him have some words. He's calling Paulie G a scumbag, and I'm telling Tommy Reynolds, I don't want to hear that bullshit. I told him. And I told him, I said, I don't kill my friends. I don't do that. So there's a lot of things that added up to me cooperating. The woman had a big deal in it. And I also want to say that these people say I started cooperating at the age of 23. I cooperated when I was 30 years old. That's when I cooperated. I didn't cooperate at the age of 23. So you got to get that fact straight. Okay, at the age of 23, I took a 5-year bid with the feds, and I had a 4 to 8 that ran on top of that. And then when I got home, I was home for almost a year. And then I got picked up again. So I didn't flip until I was 30 years old. So get that straight, okay? Because that's another lie that these people want to say. And they need to get their facts straight, because everything they talk about is all bullshit. You got to talk about John Gotti Jr. and the Gotti crew. Talk about all their bullshit that they do, because they got all these people that work for them. They pay them and they talk for them. And this is what the Gottis do. So with that said, everyone listen, have a good Thursday. I hope you enjoyed this story. Got a lot more stories to come. But back in the day, I made tons of money robbing banks. These guys couldn't shine my shoes back then. That's 100%. I took 4 to 8 when I was 23, plus a 5-year bill with the feds that ran on top of each other, had private attorneys. I had money coming in, all that stuff. I'm not glorifying it, but I'm letting you know what type of person I am. And if anyone knows me from the street, they know what type of person I was. I was always a good guy. I was never a bad guy. But these people want to smear other people's names. Did I cooperate? 100% I cooperate. Had every reason to cooperate. I'll stand on it all day long. But people who don't show their faces and don't show their names and want to talk about me and talk about mob stuff, those people need to go get a life. They have no credibility whatsoever because you can't show your face. With that said, have a great day. Love my subs. Until my next video. See you soon. Bye.